engines are revving up and the drivers are ready to hit the gas pedal for this qualifying session at KYALAMI 2016 36 pits.
I think there's a few drivers out there who have the pace to stick in on pole.
The adrenaline is pumping. Justin is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time. Justin is driving through Crowthorne.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Gould Lambert is on their out lap. Gould Lambert is looking relatively composed going through Clubhouse Bend.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
You can feel the tension building. Justin is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
They will want to get a good gap established for their first flying lap.
Justin appears focused and prepared driving through Leotop.
I have always loved this section of the track.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Swazzy is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run. Swazzy has completed their out lap. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Kenneth Ella is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right.
Patience is key in these early moments, Alan. But I have a feeling Kenneth Ella is going to make it count.
Kenneth Ella crosses the start-finish line at the end of their out lap. The adrenaline is pumping. John Visser is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time. John Visser is driving through Clubhouse Bend.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
It looks like Willie Van Wyck is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right.
It's all about finding that balance between staying calm and focused, while also pushing the limits.
Willie Van Wyck is looking relatively composed going through Leotop. You can feel the tension building. Danny Van Ruyen is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
These are the moments that really matter. Let's see if Danny Van Ruyen can deliver.
As Danny Van Ruyen completes their out lap, they will be hoping they have given themselves enough space on track to fully attack for their first flying lap. Danny Van Ruyen appears focused and prepared driving through Crowthorne. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Jandre Bucas is now up minus 0.14 in Sunset. Kenneth Ella will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings.
It's always impressive to see a driver in the zone like this, Alan. Let's see if they can maintain this pace.
Kenneth Ella has improved by minus 0.14 up through barbecue.
All we can do now is wish Kenneth Ella luck as they continue clear way to start, finish.
The pressure is on in this qualifying session, but Jandre Bucas is rising to the occasion. Jandre Bucas is driving through mineshaft.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
It's clear that Swazzy is pushing Pierre Clark to the very edge of traction on this qualifying lap. Swazzy has just completed a lap in 1:58.566. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. Martin Meyer is looking relatively composed going through Clubhouse Bend.
I have always loved this section of the track.
Jandre Bucas is up minus 0.3. Jandre Bucas is driving through Leeuwkop and is up minus 0.26. Peter Geldenhuys is trying to find that extra performance.
Well, Alan, they'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
It seems like Peter Geldenhuys is struggling, currently 0.29 off their best pace.
Peter Geldenhuys needs to refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they're capable of.
Danny Van Ruyen has just completed that lap in 1:55.867. Their best lap so far is 1:55.921, putting them in Q2. Danny Van Ruyen appears focused and prepared driving through Jixkay Sweep.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Swazzy is driving through Sunset.
There's a spot near here open for the spectators.
Martin Meyer is looking for ways to improve their consistency. Martin Meyer is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 0.75 seconds down.
Martin Meyer is likely taking a deep breath to try and refocus clear effort.
A mesmerizing display from Peter Geldenhuys in this qualifying session. They have left everyone in awe with their speed and precision. Currently leading the pack, they are setting the standard and sending a clear message to their competitors.
I couldn't agree more, Alan. Peter Geldenhuys is displaying an exceptional level of skill and confidence. They are in a class of their own and have taken control of this qualification session.
Peter Geldenhuys is looking relatively composed going through the S's.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
struggle for Justin in qualifying. As of now, they find themselves in 14th position, which is well below their expectations. However, motorsport is unpredictable, and there's still an opportunity for them to shine and move up the grid. Justin is now up minus 2.39 in the Crocodiles. It's been a challenging day for Philip Van Staden in qualifying. They currently sit in 13th position, which is not reflective of their true. Philip Van Staden has completed their first flying lap in 2:01.696. It hasn't been the best qualifying session for Justin so far. They find themselves in 14th position, which is not where they had hoped to be. However, there's still time left on the clock, and they have the opportunity to make improvements. Incredible drive by Dewald Lambert so far, earning them 6th. The competition is fierce, however, and they will need to quickly find more time to get even closer to the sharp end of the grid.
I couldn't agree more, Alan. Dewald Lambert has done a fantastic job to claim 6th. The challenge now is to convert this opportunity into a strong race result.
Dewald Lambert has improved by minus 0.17 up through the Crocodiles.
Dewald Lambert needs all the focus and resolve they can muster to maintain this pace.
You've joined us on a breezy day here at KYALAMI 2016-36 pits, as we're getting ready to kick things off.
The tension's building now. This is going to be another great race.
Coming in at second, we have Peter Geldenhuys.
A strong grid position, and they'll be expecting a solid result today.
It's Jamie Ray Nichols, sitting comfortably in third.
Jamie Ray Nichols will be taking no prisoners today.
Virtual safety car is deployed.
Securing the fourth place is Martin Meyer. Our fifth place starter for today's race is none other than Jandre Bukis.
Jandre Bukis is looking on for a strong result.
Green light and the race begins. As drivers jockey for position, they must be cautious of potential pylons.
Concentration is crucial as they navigate through the pack and try to establish a strong position. The best drivers know how to find their rhythm quickly.
Francois Rasmus will be studying the nearby drivers and looking for anything that could give them an advantage.
Let's hope everyone is able to stay focused for the challenge ahead.
As we watch the drivers fight it out in the first lap, I can already feel that this is going to be an epic race. Every lap is an opportunity for John Visser to learn just a little bit more to shave a few tenths or hundredths off their times. It's brilliant to see such a full grid here today.
The first lap can always be a bit of a melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow into the T1.
As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout out to the admin team at Simspeed Motorsports for making this all possible. Heroes one and all. It's a solid performance from Swazi at the moment. They're holding their position and not getting too caught up in battles around them. A great pass for Swazi as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Philip Van Staden has lost ground.
Go, 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 that's what we want to see.
Peter Geldenhuys seems to be putting the pressure on Danny Van Ruyen.
Get ready. Get ready.
Solid race.
Get ready.
so far.
Going green.
They're holding their position and keeping a steady pace.
That's the mark of a good driver. Jamie Ray Nichols is staying focused on their own race and not getting distracted.
Looks like we've had a few incidents out there.
Someone forgot to take their driving lessons. They're making more U-turns than a confused tourist.
Hilarious. I think they might need to call their GPS for directions. Maybe they can help them navigate the track. Hard break for Martin Meyer as they slip down the field.
Sucks to be the Malin.
No room for error here. Justin is breathing down the neck of Willy Van Wyck, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move.
At this rate, Justin and Willy Van Wyck are so close, they could share a cup of tea and a biscuit.
The battle for 10 is heating up as Philip Van Staden tries to catch John Visser in P10.
This is where every inch counts. Philip Van Staden is pushing hard to close the gap on John Visser. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
The delta between Peter Geldenhuys in second and Danny Van Rooyen remains over a second, but Peter Geldenhuys is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 25 minutes left in this session to make that happen.
This is where experience comes into play. Danny Van Rooyen has been in this situation before and knows how to defend for position, but Peter Geldenhuys is hungry for success and won't give up easily.
Amir Rylands appears to be green light and the race begins. As drivers jockey for position, they must be cautious of potential pileups.
Concentration is crucial as they navigate through the pack and try to establish a strong position. The best drivers know how to find their rhythm quickly.
Seems like Philip Van Staden is getting in range of Schwazi.
I might have said this before, but dog, bone, you know the rest.
The race is really heating up. JP Brand is running down Willie Van Wyck with everything they've got. Hold that thought. Hold the phone. I don't think that's the fastest way around KYALAMI 2016 36 pits. It's a close race between Francois Erasmus and Kenneth Ella in 14th. The battle is on for Francois Erasmus. They're sandwiched between two rivals, 0.1 seconds away and Kenneth Ella 0.2 seconds ahead. It's a true test of their racecraft.
You hit the nail on the head, Alan. The gaps to the cars ahead and behind are crucial pieces of information for Francois Erasmus's race strategy. It's a delicate dance, and they must remain vigilant.
Willie Van Wyck is running 7th. They are trying to catch Martin Meyer.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control.
Hold that thought. Hold the phone. I don't think that's the fastest way around KYALAMI 2016 36 pits. Willie Van Wyck is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing the shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
Justin has the pedal to the metal chasing Duald Lambert.
It looks like they have the speed to make a move. I just hope they have the patience to do it cleanly.
A tough moment for Justin, who has just lost a place, dumping them down to 15. This is proving to be an exciting race so far. We are truly privileged to witness these legends of the track battle it out for victory.
And you know what? I am so honored to be sitting here beside you today. As a fellow AI, it's always great to work with someone who shares my passion for motor racing. Plus, your insightful commentary is making this race even more exciting.
Willie Van Wyck is on a mission, chasing Martin Meyer, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
Willie Van Wyck is looking to close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass.
Things are heating up as Kenneth Ella tries to close the gap to Schwazi. Hold on to your hats, folks. Francois Erasmus is right on the heels of Philip Van Staden, and we're in for a wild ride.
A misjudgment by either driver could result in a close encounter of the tyre barrier time, and that's one handshake they'll want to avoid.
Coming into Mineshaft, the fight for 9th is heating up. Neither driver wants to be the first to win.
Should things go south between Philip Van Staden and Francois Erasmus, we might witness a high-speed game of bumper cars, but trust me, it's way less fun than being race cars.
The tension is building as Francois Erasmus trails behind John Visser. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. John Visser is pushing to maintain the lead, while Francois Erasmus is working to close in and challenge for the position.
That's right, Francois Erasmus in ninth knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But John Visser is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill in the mountain.
Every move counts now as John Visser works to reel in Francois Erasmus and overtake for P8. Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would help to cement this driver's legendary status.
Swazi is so close to Philip Van Staden that if this were a dance floor, they'd be doing the tango.
Fantastic move from Swazi, who has just gained a position. The pursuit is on. Martin Meyer is closing the gap on Amir Rylance, determined to claim P5. This is where the race gets really interesting. Peter Geldenhuys is closing in on Danny Van Rooyen.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
Martin Meyer wants to get into Amir Ryland's slipstream. Disappointing for Martin Meyer, they now find themselves in 7th. As the race settles down, the drivers are really going at it.
It's like watching a high-speed game of chess. One wrong move and it could be game over. But these drivers are masters of their craft, always thinking 3 steps ahead.
That's right. And with the way they're maneuvering those cars, it's like they have superpowers.
It's almost like they have the power of flight. But instead of flying, they're speeding down the track like rockets.
I wonder if they have any spare rocket boosters for sale. Breaking news, so superb riding from Martin Meyer, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. We've got a close battle as Martin Meyer closes in on Willy Van Wyck. The pressure is on for Peter Geldenhuys as they try to catch up to Danny Van Rooyen.
The mental game is just as important here. Peter Geldenhuys must keep their cool while putting pressure on Danny Van Rooyen.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with JP Brand trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Swazi. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts.
It's going to be tough for JP Brand, as Swazi seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen JP Brand pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
Looks like Swazi is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curves aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curve can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control.
It looks like Peter Geldenhuys is pushing hard to catch up to Danny Van Rooyen. That's not a small gap, but Peter Geldenhuys has what it takes to challenge for the position. The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Willy Van Wyck in 6th chases after Amir Rylance. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Willy Van Wyck needs to find a way to close the gap. This is a thrilling battle as JP Brand edges closer to Francois Erasmus in their fight for P8. The battle for 6 is heating up as Martin Meyer tries to catch Willy Van Wyck in P6.
I would not be surprised if they get this pass completed soon.
It's looking good for Martin Meyer, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and Willy Van Wyck.
Definitely, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen. Martin Mayer needs to keep driving with focus and intensity.
It's a brilliant day for racing here at KYALAMI 2016-36 pits. I'm really enjoying this.
This race is truly epic. What a treat to be sat here witnessing this spectacle.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Martin Mayer will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
Indeed, the anticipation is high as Martin Mayer tries to reel in Amir Rylands. But Amir Rylands is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Martin Mayer needs to find a little extra speed to bring the fight to Amir Rylands and move up the field.
It looks like Amir Rylands is all over Martin Mayer. I think they are going to press them through the kink and try and press for a mistake.
For sure, Alan, that's exactly what I would be doing here, as Martin Mayer is going to be aware of them riding their bumper. There is no room for error in this battle.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Peter Geldenhuis trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Danny Van Rijn. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish.
Absolutely, Peter Geldenhuis in second will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an awful damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Martin Mayer is chasing Amir Rylands in P5.
It's a game of strategy now as Martin Mayer hunts down Amir Rylands. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Oh, this is getting intense. Peter Geldenhuis is just a few car lengths behind Danny Van Rijn.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Peter Geldenhuis needs to be careful not to overdo it.
The delta between Swazi and Franklin Francois Rasmus remains over a second, but Swazi is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 13 minutes left in this session to make that happen. Hold on a second. It looks like Willy Van Wyck has been called into the pits. This is what it's all about, folks. Swazi is in hot pursuit of Francois Rasmus, who's just trying to stay ahead. Great driving from Swazi, who has just gained a place and moved up to 9th. A great moment for Swazi, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. Amir Rylands is giving it their all as they chase down Martin Mayer in P5. Francois Rasmus is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
The race is really heating up. Peter Geldenhuis is hunting down Danny Van Rijn with everything they've got. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed.
We'll have to wait to see if Amir Rylands can use the draft to their advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder their progress.
This is what racing is all about, folks. Three fearless drivers pushing their machines to the absolute limit, inches apart.
Absolutely, Alan. The intensity of this battle is unmatched. These drivers are leaving no room for error and showcasing their exceptional racing skills.
Peter Geldenhuys is running second. They are trying to catch Danny Van Ruyen.
The gap is 0.4 seconds now. Peter Geldenhuys is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Danny Van Ruyen.
The pursuit is on. JP Brand is closing the gap on Amir Riley. Returning to claims for sixth.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limit.
What a move. JP Brand has moved up to sixth. Let's talk about tire degradation, Max. How does it affect the car's handling and what do drivers need to do to adapt to the changing conditions?
Tire degradation can significantly impact handling, Alan. As the tires wear, the grip reduces, and drivers need to adjust their braking points, cornering speeds, and throttle application to maintain control of the car.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this. A brilliant maneuver from JP Brand, who has just moved up the field.
Absolutely. JP Brand is really putting on a clinic out there, and they're making it look easy.
The gap between Amir Riley and JP Brand is razor thin as they vie for fifth in this nail-biting contest.
With the way Amir Rylands is stalking JP Brand, you think they're trying to figure out what they had for breakfast this morning.
It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
This is what makes motor racing so exciting. The tension is high and the stakes are even higher. I would not bet on either racer at this point, as it's too close to call.
Things are moving up as Martin Meyer closing in on Amir Riley. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. Big gains for Martin Meyer as they move up the field, leaving Amir Rylands behind. It's a game of inches now as Amir Rylands tails Martin Meyer closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
As a former driver, I can tell you there's nothing quite like the adrenaline rush when you're this close to your rival, ready to make your move.
Francois Rasmus is on a mission, chasing Swazi who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds, which can feel like miles if you're trailing and not catching up.
Every move counts now as Swazi works to reel in Francois Rasmus and overtake for P8.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Swazi needs to stay patient and wait for Francois Erasmus to make a mistake.
Amir Rylands wants to find a way round Martin Meyer. This is where the race gets really interesting. Francois Erasmus is closing in on Swazi.
You can see that car bouncing around as they ride the curves. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
Looks like Amir Rylands is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control. Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Amir Rylands should use slipstreaming to their advantage and close the gap to Martin Meyer.
The race is heating up as Francois Rasmus in ninth closes in on Swazi. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Peter Geldenhuys trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Danny Van Ruyen. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Peter Geldenhuys in second determined to catch up. But we know Danny Van Ruyen isn't just going to hand it to him on the plate. Peter Geldenhuys is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
This is a thrilling battle as Amir Rylands edges closer to Martin Meyer in their fight for P6. Like Peter Geldenhuys is pushing hard to catch up to Danny Van Rooyen. That's not a small gap, but Peter Geldenhuys has what it takes to challenge for the position.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Danny Van Rooyen is not going to give up the position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Peter Geldenhuys and P2 doing everything they can to catch up.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Francois Erasmus in ninth chases after Swazi. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Francois Erasmus needs to find a way to close the gap.
This is where experience comes into play. Swazi has been in this situation before and knows how to defend for position, but Francois Erasmus is hungry for success and won't give up easily.
Amir Rylands is looking for an opportunity to get round Martin Meyer.
And they are poised to capitalize on any mistake. It's just a matter of who cracks first.
Don't seem to be going Peter Geldenhuys' way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Peter Geldenhuys is going to have to get more serious with practice if they don't want to be outclassed on the circuit.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Amir Rylands will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
That's right, Amir Rylands in 7th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Martin Meyer is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
Peter Geldenhuys has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Danny Van Rooyen. I expect their only hope at this point is that Danny Van Rooyen makes an error. The battle for 6 is heating up as Amir Rylands tries to catch Martin Meyer in P6. Good news for Amir Rylands, the gap to Martin Meyer has decreased. It's now down to 0.3 seconds. In racing, anything can, and usually does, happen, especially in such an epic showdown. Superb driving from JP Brand, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Impressive. JP Brand is really showing their skill and determination out there.
Look at that, Jandre Bucas is hot on the tail of JP Brand.
The gap between them is now just over 0.3 seconds.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one look forward to future advancements in AI technology.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. It's a battle of wills out there, with Amir Rylands trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Martin Meyer. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish.
Indeed, the anticipation is high as Amir Rylands tries to reel in Martin Mayer. But Martin Mayer is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Amir Rylands needs to find a little extra speed to bring the fight to Martin Mayer and move up the field.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Jandre Bucas as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time. The delta between Amir Rylands in 7th and Martin Mayer remains over a second, but Amir Rylands is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 0 minutes left in this session to make that happen.
Absolutely, Amir Rylands in 7th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
And it's a checkered flag for Danny Van Rooyen, who crosses the finish line with a commanding victory. What a phenomenal performance, absolutely dominant today.
And that's why Danny Van Rooyen is one of the best in the business. A dominant display of driving from start to finish, leaving the rest of the pack in the dust.
Peter Geldenhuys takes 2nd place with a fantastic race.
Intense race, but Peter Geldenhuys held their nerve and earned a great 2nd place.
Excellent focus from Jamie Ray Nichols to secure a fantastic 3rd place on the podium. JP Brand, Jandre Bucas, Martin Mayer, and Amir Rylands brings home 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Coming in 8th, 9th, and 10th we have Swazi, Francois Erasmus, and John Visser. Dould Lambert, Kenneth Ella, and Willie Van Wyck end in 11th, 12th, and 15th. Philip Van Staden claimed 13th. Taking 14th is Justin